What if everything you've ever seen was a lie? Not a lie in the sense of someone lying to you, but a lie in the sense that most of reality is completely invisible to you. But your eyes have been forced to believe it. Right now, invisible waves are passing through your body, through the walls around you, through the air between you and everyone you love. And if your eyes could see them, your entire world would simply look alien. What if humans evolve to see radio waves instead of visible light? What if your eyes were tuned to radio waves? Let's dive in. Let's start with the most disorienting thing that would happen immediately. You wake up. At first, everything feels normal. The same room, the same bed, and the same quiet morning. But then, something feels wrong as you fully open your eyes. The walls aren't solid anymore. They shimmer. Faint waves ripple through the air. Soft, pulsing patterns moving in every direction. Your ceiling flickers with invisible currents. The space around you isn't still. It is alive. You sit up, trying to focus. But the more you look, the less the world makes sense as it continues to feel dark and empty. Radio waves have wavelengths thousands of times longer than visible light. And because of that, most of the objects we take for granted, like walls, furniture, and the people standing right next to us, won't really interact with radio waves the way they do with lights. They don't reflect them. They don't absorb them cleanly. They just let them pass through. So walls, gone and now transparent, you would see straight into the building next door. You would look down and see basement levels beneath your feet. The solid, reliable world you've always lived in would dissolve into something more like a fog, a suggestion of matter. Reality wouldn't feel like a place you inhabit. It would feel like a place you float through. A simulation where the creator is playing sick games with you. But here's where it gets extraordinary. Because while the physical world fades, the signal world lights up. Instead of colors, you would see information. That Wi-Fi router on your shelf, it wouldn't be a small plastic box. It would be a glowing sphere of energy, pulsing outward in all directions. Waves spreading through every room, through every floor, like a heartbeat made of light. What is this beacon device you're holding in your hand? Oh, it's your phone. Now a bright active source of energy, constantly talking to towers. You would now be able to see on the horizon tall structures radiating massive blooms of energy across the city. Radio broadcasts from stations miles away would roll through your vision like weather fronts, steady and rhythmic everywhere. A modern city seen in radio wouldn't look like a city. It would look like a living nervous system. Dense webs of overlapping waves, invisible highways of communication, crisscrossing every block, every intersection, every home. You wouldn't be walking through a city. You would be walking through a conversation. Now, here's something unsettling. You probably wouldn't be able to see people very well. The human body doesn't emit or reflect radio waves in any significant way. no strong signal, nor bright reflection. The person standing in front of you might appear as little more than a faint blur, a soft distortion in the field around them, a gap in the wave patterns where a body used to be. You would recognize someone not by their face, but by their phone. That glowing device in their pocket would be their most visible feature, their radio signature. Movement might be the only real giveaway due to the way a body disrupts the signal flowing around it. It would feel like a walking absence and a ghost-shaped interference pattern. In radio vision, people become ghosts, and their devices become their faces. What about the building themselves? It depends entirely on what they are made of. Wood and drywall are essentially invisible. They would vanish like smoke. But metal reflects radio waves almost perfectly. In radio vision, metal would shine bright, almost like a mirror. Think about what that means for a skyscraper. All that glass and concrete you would normally see, gone or fainted at best, but the steel skeleton underneath, the iron frame holding the whole structure up, that would glow ever brightly. A skyline wouldn't look like towers of glass and stone. It would look like glowing cages of metal hanging in the air, their interiors invisible and their facades dissolved. Architecture would reveal its bones. Look up. Invisible light, the night sky is mostly darkness with pinpricks of stars. Beautiful, but quiet. In radio vision, the sky would never be quiet. The atmosphere would buzz with constant signal noise. Satellites streaking overhead like slowly moving comets, broadcasting in all directions. Earth itself would radiate upward, all the noise of civilization leaking into space. But even beyond that, the galaxy would look completely different. Radio astronomy has shown us that the Milky Way has structures and emissions we simply cannot see with our eyes. These are clouds of gas and jets of energy, regions that are loud in radio frequencies and invisible in light. At the center of our galaxy, there's a supermassive black hole, and it pulses with radio energy. And with radio vision, on a clear night, you might be able to perceive it, a faint, impossible glow at the heart of the sky. The universe in radio is not dark and distant place. It is a storm you're already inside of. But for all that wonder, there is a cost, and a heavy one for that matter. Radio waves have terrible resolution. Because the wavelengths are so long, the detail they can carry is extraordinarily low. There is a hard physical limit to how sharp radio vision can ever be. So in practice, it means you couldn't read, and text would be an unrecognizable blur. Books, road signs, screens would all be unreadable. The world in radio would be smooth, soft, and without edges. A world where you can see through walls, but you can't see the expression on the other side. You couldn't even recognize a face. The fine details that make up a face, the curve of a lip, the color of an eye, those features are far too small for radio waves to resolve. Yes, you wouldn't know if he is black, white, Asian, or beautiful. These are the positive sides, I guess. It is a strange trait. Total penetration, but zero detail. Of course, if we would ever evolve this way, our brains would have evolved too. We wouldn't experience radio frequencies as light the way we're imagining it. The brain would develop entirely new categories of perception. Different frequencies might feel like different textures. A 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi signal might feel rough and dense. An FM radio wave might feel smooth and wide. Signal strength might register as something like closeness, a sense of nearness that has nothing to do with physical distance. Interference patterns, where signal overlap and distort, might register as a kind of noise or discomfort, the way a loud sound can be painful. We wouldn't see the world in color, but we would experience it in field and frequency. Our language would have different words. Our art would look completely different. Our architecture would be designed around signal flow and not sunlight. We would be, in every meaningful sense, a different kind of species. So, let's paint the final picture. You're standing in a room. The walls have faded to nothing. The furniture is a faint suggestion of shapes. But above your desk, a glowing sphere pulses rhythmically. Your router, alive with energy. Your phone sits in your pocket like a small sun. Outside the window, the city doesn't look like a city. It looks like a web of light and signal, a living diagram of every conversation happening right now. The sky above isn't dark. It hums. It breathes. And somewhere far above, past the satellites, the noise and the constant digital chatter of 8 billion connected humans, at the very center of our galaxy, a black hole whispers in frequencies you almost perceive, but you still can't see the face of the person you love. You can't read the words on a page, and the wall of your own home has become as thin as air. That's the world of radio vision, a world of total connection, and at the same time, total blur. If you found our stories fascinating, please like, subscribe, and support us. All the links are in the description below. Thank you very much for your support.